When gangs hijack parliaments in Kenya, muzzle journalists across Europe, and ignite blood feuds in Japan, what can law enforcement really do but back off? These criminal networks don't just run streets, they dominate ports, cities, and entire countries. Today we reveal the 15 gangs so ruthless even police won't go near them. And trust me, the last one will totally shock you. Number 15. Red Command. When bullets echo through Rio's favelas, nobody wonders who it is. It's almost always Commando Vermelho making a move. Known as the Red Command, this gang has turned Brazil's most neglected neighborhoods into combat zones. Police either show up in armored vehicles or not at all. The group started inside a Rio prison in the late 1970s when political radicals joined forces with street criminals. Their goal was survival. But outside prison walls, that alliance became something far more dangerous. Commando didn't just last, they thrived. Today, they run illegal rackets and battle police in all-out shootouts. In some areas, they're the law, collecting taxes, punishing snitches, and even throwing block parties. The state doesn't rule there, Red Command does. For a while, they had a shaky truce with their rival PCC. But that didn't hold. The war reignited, with ambushes, turf clashes, and innocent victims. Their violence isn't random. It's calculated, it's brutal, and it sends one message: don't challenge Red Command. Number 14. Sinaloa Cartel. Some gangs fight over street corners. The Sinaloa Cartel built a drug empire with international reach. Known as one of the most dominant cartels ever, their operation spans across continents, not just Mexico. It all started in the 1980s, but everything shifted when Joaquin El Chapo Guzman took control. Under his rule, the cartel turned into a global trafficking machine, moving cocaine and more across the US, Europe, and Asia. And they didn't just hustle, they innovated. Think underground tunnels, submarines, and private planes. While other cartels thrived on chaos, Sinaloa mastered corruption, silence, and strategic force. Even the police tread carefully. And El Chapo? Captured twice, escaped twice. That wasn't luck. That was influence. After he was finally locked up, the cartel didn't crumble. His sons, known as Los Chapitos, and other high-ranking players, stepped up and kept it moving. When it comes to cartels with true reach, sharp structure, and deep pockets, Sinaloa isn't just a name, it's the brand. Number 13. MS-13. What makes a gang so brutal that even the cops hesitate? With MS-13, it's not just fear, it's legacy, savagery, and absolute disorder. Short for Mara Salvatrucha, MS-13 didn't appear overnight. It formed in the 1980s in LA, created by Salvadoran immigrants trying to survive the hostile streets. Instead of staying local, MS-13 expanded into a cross-border beast. When the U.S. deported gang members in the 90s, they brought their violent code back to El Salvador and Honduras, countries already overwhelmed by corruption, poverty, and weak leadership. From there, it spiraled. Today in San Salvador, entire districts are locked down by MS-13. Think curfews, checkpoints, brutal street control. Most police won't even enter without backup, if at all. Stepping into MS-13 turf without serious force is like stepping into a loaded trap. This isn't just a gang, it's a paramilitary machine. They've even returned to the U.S., active in L.A., New York, and D.C., pushing fear, extortion, and violence wherever they plant their flag. Number 12. 14K Triad. How do you deal with a gang so deeply embedded, so massive, that its network stretches across borders, industries, and generations, while law enforcement can barely keep up? That's the 14K Triad, one of the most dominant crime syndicates in Asia. Founded in 1945 in Guangzhou and based in Hong Kong, the 14K isn't some petty gang. It's a sprawling organization with an estimated 20,000 members worldwide. Their operations run deep across China, Southeast Asia, Europe, and even the United States. They handle everything: drug trafficking, arms smuggling, extortion, counterfeiting, illegal gambling. What sets them apart is longevity and structure. Leaders like Juan Kwok Koi, aka Broken Tooth, expanded 14K's reach beyond streets and into business deals, political circles, and even real estate empires. In 2020, the U.S. government sanctioned Juan for criminal and political activity tied to foreign influence operations. 14K's decentralized structure keeps it moving. Shut down one faction, and 5 more stay active. This gang isn't fading. It's multiplying, evolving, and outlasting its enemies. Number 11. Jalisco New Generation Cartel. What kind of cartel makes police departments avoid entire regions? Well, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, has done exactly that. Rising fast around 2010, CJNG filled the vacuum left by other crumbling cartels. Leading the charge is Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho. Under his lead, CJNG exploded into one of the most dangerous and organized cartels globally. Their business? Not just drugs. They dominate fentanyl and cocaine routes, control extortion rackets, manipulate businesses, and eliminate rivals with precision. Today, CJNG has a presence in nearly every Mexican state and continues expanding into the U.S., Europe, and Asia. Local law enforcement? Many refuse to engage unless absolutely forced. In some areas, the cartel calls the shots, not the government. Their firepower is military-grade, rolling with armored vehicles, heavy artillery, and even surveillance drones. CJNG isn't just brutal. They're disciplined, expanding, and untouchable in many places. Number 10. Barrio 18. Walk through the wrong block in El Salvador or Honduras, and there's one rule everyone knows: never cross into Barrio 18 territory. Because if you do and it's their zone, things can turn ugly fast. Barrio 18, aka the 18th Street Gang, originated in Los Angeles. They split off early on and accepted all ethnicities, unlike other exclusive gangs. That move gave them numbers, and numbers built muscle. When law enforcement cracked down in the U.S., members were deported to Central America, where the streets were wide open. No W Barrio 18 dominates large swaths of El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. Total no-go zones for anyone, including police. Authorities admit they avoid entire districts unless absolutely necessary, and even then, they move heavily. The gang's grip isn't just about guns, it's about fear. They've split into factions like the Revolucionarios and Sureños, only deepening the conflict. So if cops are too afraid to show up, what does that say for everyone else? Number 9. Aryan Brotherhood. There's a prison gang so embedded, so ferocious, that even correctional officers think twice before making eye contact. The Aryan Brotherhood, founded in the 1960s at San Quentin, is one of the most lethal and secretive organizations inside the U.S. prison system. While it masks itself in white supremacist rhetoric, its real agenda is cold, calculated power. Drug trafficking, extortion, murder for hire, it's all business. Orders are passed through coded notes, lawyer intermediaries, and encrypted messages. This gang doesn't just go after rivals. They've targeted prison guards, too. Entry requires brutal proof of loyalty, and once you're in, there's no walking away. Their discipline, structure, and brutality make them a force even hardened criminals fear. Despite being incarcerated, members orchestrate crimes beyond prison walls. Their network is tight, bound by loyalty and fear. The Brotherhood doesn't scream for attention. It moves strategically, ruthlessly, and without guilt. And that's what makes them dangerous. Número 8. Primeiro Comando da Capital. It sounds wild that one of Brazil's most powerful gangs runs the show from inside prison? That's exactly how PCC rose to dominance. Formed in 1993 inside São Paulo's prisons, the PCC started as a brotherhood protecting inmates from brutality. But that unity turned into raw control. Today, they've evolved into one of the most strategic and lethal gangs in Latin America. The top leadership is still locked up, yet they orchestrate drug routes, murders, and millions in criminal enterprise from behind bars. It's like they converted a prison into a command center. PCC isn't chaotic, they're calculated. While Comando Vermelho rages loudly, PCC builds quietly. They've stretched across Brazil and into Paraguay and Bolivia. Drugs, weapons, illegal businesses, you name it, they run it. And when the state tried cracking down, PCC launched coordinated riots. Police stations burned, buses torched. The message was simple: come for us, and we'll light everything up. Number 7. Russian Mafia, Bratva. How do you fight a syndicate that doesn't fear prison, governments, or law itself? The Russian Mafia, commonly known as the Bratva, isn't just a gang, it's an empire. It emerged from the collapse of the Soviet Union and filled the vacuum with muscle, money, and strategy. Today, it's made up of multiple factions spread across Russia, Europe, the US, and beyond. They don't just operate in shadows, they thrive in high places. Arms trafficking, cybercrime, drugs, extortion, they're all in it. Some estimates suggest the Bratva controls billions in global assets. Unlike traditional crime families with one boss, the Bratva runs through brigades, tight units led by their own leaders but answerable to a criminal elite. That structure makes them harder to crush. Cut off one arm and others keep operating. Their influence isn't just criminal, it's political. Bratva-linked figures have surfaced in high-level corruption cases. In some cities, police don't back off out of fear. They back off because they're already surrounded. Number 6. Yamaguchi Gumi. What if the most powerful gang in your country didn't hide in the shadows, but operated with offices, business cards, and enough power to make even the police tread lightly? That's the Yamaguchi Gumi, Japan's largest and most structured crime syndicate. Founded in 1915 and based in Kobe, this group runs more like a corporation than a street crew. With tens of thousands of members, they've embedded themselves into industries like construction, finance, gambling, extortion, and narcotics. Their reach doesn't stop at Japan. The Yamaguchi Gumi has ties across Southeast Asia and even the US. What makes them different is their visibility. They've registered offices, printed newsletters, and even helped during natural disasters to boost public image. But don't mistake that for softness. Inside, they enforce a strict code of discipline. Failures are met with ritual punishment. And when leadership fractures, like it did in 2015, violence explodes. Police monitor closely, but cracking down too hard risks igniting internal wars. Sometimes restraint isn't weakness, it's survival. All right, now, let's move to Number 5. The Bloods Gang. You'll find them wherever red bandanas are worn and turf is taken seriously. The Bloods, one of America's most recognizable street gangs, were born in the 1970s Los Angeles as a counter to the rising violence from rival crews like the Crips. What began as a loose alliance turned into a sprawling network bound by loyalty and codes. Their reach now spreads across the U.S., and their crimes aren't just street level. They're tied to trafficking, armed robbery, and racketeering on a massive scale. What keeps the Bloods running is its structure. Instead of one central command, they operate through sets, local chapters that follow their own rules but still fly the same flag. That structure makes dismantling them a nightmare for police. In neighborhoods where they've taken root, officers don't just stroll in, they prepare for resistance. It's not just the numbers, it's the silence, the influence, and the deep-seated code that protects their own. Number 4. Albanian Mafia. Could there be a crime group so silent and efficient that even major police agencies across Europe struggle to contain it? That's the Albanian Mafia, a syndicate that's quietly becoming one of the most dangerous criminal powers in the world. These aren't loud thugs chasing attention. They're strategic, disciplined, and rooted deep in the Balkans, Italy, the UK, and beyond. Italian prosecutors have compared them to the Andrangetta. Some even say they're worse. The power lies in their structure, loose, family-based clans that are fiercely loyal and nearly impossible to penetrate. They specialize in drug smuggling, arms trading, and human trafficking. Their route? The Balkan Corridor, a pipeline running from Afghanistan to Western Europe. What really shakes law enforcement is how efficiently they move narcotics undetected. Shipments worth millions vanish across borders. And their tactics? Bribery, violence, and targeted intimidation. Number 3. Andrangetta. Ever heard of a mafia so powerful that even elite anti-mafia squads avoid direct hits? The Andrangetta doesn't just run neighborhoods, they control entire regions. Based in Calabria, Italy, this syndicate keeps a low profile, but its reach is staggering. Unlike flashy crime families, the Andrangetta operates quietly, but they're one of the richest and deadliest organizations worldwide. Their business? Global cocaine trafficking brings in tens of billions annually. Their network spans Italy, South America, North America, and even Australia. What makes them nearly impossible to break? Blood ties. The gang is structured around tightly bound families, making infiltration nearly impossible. In Calabria, they don't just scare the police, they own some of them. Whole towns are off limits to law enforcement. In 2021, Italy launched its largest mafia trial in decades, charging over 300 members with crimes from murder to corruption. But even that wasn't enough to dismantle them. The Andrangetta doesn't just run a gang, they move billions. Number 2. Netherlands' silent cartel. What if one of Europe's most feared gangs wasn't hiding in the shadows but operating right in plain view, controlling major cities and silencing opposition without warning? That's the Macro Mafia, a Moroccan-Dutch criminal network that's turned the Netherlands into a front line for drug wars. Starting with small-time coke deals in Amsterdam, they evolved into a dominant syndicate. Their specialty? High-volume cocaine trafficking from Latin America into ports like Rotterdam and Antwerp. Shipments worth hundreds of millions. But smuggling is just one part. Their enforcement is terrifying. This gang has left a trail of assassinations, abductions, and hits, including on journalists, lawyers, and even relatives of public officials. One of their top bosses, Ridwan Taghi, was sentenced to life in 2023. But experts say the network is still running strong. They don't operate like old-school mafia. They use encrypted apps, digital layers, and fragmented leadership that keeps law enforcement scrambling. They are smart. Number 1. Los Zetas. Los Zetas didn't sneak into Mexico's cartel scene. They stormed in like a military invasion. This wasn't your typical street gang. Formed in the late 1990s by ex-Special Forces soldiers, Los Zetas were originally hired as enforcers for the Gulf Cartel. But once they tasted power, they broke off and built their own empire. With military training and no mercy, they brought battlefield terror to city streets. At their peak, they ruled large swaths of northern and eastern Mexico. Their presence was so brutal that law enforcement either joined, disappeared, or stayed out entirely. These weren't just drug dealers. They ran kidnappings, extortion rings, oil theft, you name it. Every move they made was loud, violent, and tactical. Unlike older cartels, Los Zetas didn't just want profit, they wanted dominance. But violence caught up to them. Internal fights, arrests, and rising rivals like the Sinaloa cartel cut them down. Still, splinter groups live on. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.